talk about your transport business, and you kind of touched upon that a little bit. Of it was born out of kind of necessity, really. You're transporting your own puppies, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, wait a minute, we could make something out of this. Um, talk about that journey, and what that's added to your dog program, if anything, or just talk about that, and is that your one of your main sources of income, or
Yes.
Yeah,
That
that's
is our main source of income.
yeah. Um, we started it a little over a year ago. Um, I was I worked driving truck for a construction company. Um, 14, 15, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. Sometimes it'd be 7. You just, by the time I get home, it was putting the dogs on her a lot. She was having to feed,
Well, and I was working full time
and
at
she
that
was
time
working
too.
full time. Luckily, she worked from home for insurance, and then it was all state. She did customer service, and she was an insurance agent and stuff. And that was a blessing that she was able to work from home. So on her lunch, she would have time to, run out, let some dogs out, let them run around, do their thing for a while, go out on a break, put them away, let some more out, feed them, do stuff that she needed to do. Because by the time I was getting home, it was, late, dark, whatever else. And we just was having a hard time finding transporters. A lot of them were flaky, or they would try to change their prices on you. They're like, well, I'll do it for this much. And then they let you know a day later, well, I've got to up it for this price. I'm trying to get a new van. Well, so what? You're trying to make us pay for your van? No, that's not how it works, man.
Or they limit, like they won't go to literally cutting off from Oregon, Nevada, Utah, and that nothing above it.
Yeah. We go coast to coast. You name it. We'll flight nanny. Our main source is ground transport, is what we do most of.
Ground transport a lot of times works out to be less expensive than flight nanny. With flight nanny, you're paying for the flight, the nanny, plus
the pet,
the cost of the puppy going on board, because it's anywhere from $100 to $150.
Sometimes a hotel room if they have to stay overnight. The flight nannies can get pretty spendy. Sometimes you can do a turn and burn, a real quick one. You don't have to charge them a whole lot. That's our biggest thing, is we're not trying to get rich off of it. We're not trying to just kill people on the prices. We charge so much per mile. If we run like so many miles, it's basically like a flat rate.
Yeah.
And we got to where the last time there was another transporter in Utah that we had used, and he showed up here and went to put our puppy in. He met Brandi outside, went to put a puppy in the crate. She looked in the crate and there was pig shit in there. She's like, oh, hold up. He's like, yeah, we just had a pig in there. It's okay. She made him pull it out and clean his crate and everything right in our front yard.
Yeah.
Before that dog was going in there. That's not how you do it. We expect our dogs to have top-notch care and quality on their trip. And, people are paying a decent amount of money for it. So one day I told her, I said, what do you think about doing? She's like, oh, I don't know. And finally it came down to it. There was somebody that was selling her business, and I contacted her. She'd done like 2 transports for us before that, and seemed legitimate and stuff. And so we
partnered up for a little while, and then then we branched off from each other.
Yeah, and did our own thing, and it's done really well. The animals get basically first class service the whole way.
And we were taught a lot in the beginning of it, and it helped kind of get us off to a good start. So
It's a lot of logistics and making sure that, you know, they have food at the times they're supposed to be fed, or, you know, constant water all day long, clean kennels all day, and
we stop every 4 to 5 hours, typically 4.
We use a Live 360 app, so, and we send that to the client so that they can actually watch us in real time, see where we're at. And
with each one of those stops that are made, we send picture and or video updates.
Or video updates every 4 to 5 hours throughout the whole day. And then at night we stop and sleep, because we don't run as a team. We have, you know, our little daughter at home, so we can't leave her home. But
we sleep in the vehicle.
Yeah, we sleep in the vehicle with the animals, unless there's like 1 or 2, then we can get a hotel with them. And everything we clean with wishy wash, and
we will wishy wash on the road. When we come home, we do a full detail. All the kennels are removed, they're torn down, and they are what I would consider deep clean.
Everything, every time.
On the road, when you can't do that. So we have a bottle of wishy wash, and we also use Performicide, which has an added ingredient in it to help with cats specifically. I can't remember what it's called in there, but it helps protect from something that's things that cats carry. So I use both of those to clean each and every kennel anytime an animal is delivered. If I've got the time before my next delivery, I'll clean that kennel, because that kennel will stay empty until I clean it. So I know when I get to wherever I need to, I'll have enough time. I build enough time into the route, because I route for us. So I can build the time into the route to allow time for, whether it's me driving or him driving, to stop.
Make sure everything stays clean.
Clean it out. And that includes the carpet of the van. We clean in there, sanitize it, and then we clean the kennel itself with the wishy wash or Performicide, depending on what animal was in there. And then we always keep, I think I go out with like 20 dog bowls every single route, because they have a water bowl,
sanitized dog
and they
bowls,
have, we sanitize them every time we come home. But I go out with so many because I want to make sure that I don't have to reuse a bowl. So when that dog goes or that cat goes, the bowl gets put to the front of the van, tucked away, and that does not get used again. So they get fresh water bowls and fresh food bowls. Some people will supply their own, and that's totally fine. If it'll fit in the crate and doesn't take away from space from the dog or the cat, then that's totally fine. Because I use a big enough crate with cats where we can put like the litter box in there. But
we take pride in our animals and our transport. I mean, we put as much love into our transport as we do our dogs at home, because we want every animal on the road to be treated like our dogs at home. So it's a big must to provide the best transport experience that we can for the animals. Every single one of them is treated like a VIP. Puppies, they don't touch the ground. They stay in the crate. It gets cleaned out. You hold it the whole time. Put new fresh shavings in there.
Yeah, we do
put them back in. No paws on the ground.
If they're under the age of 16 weeks, or if they haven't been fully vaccinated, they don't touch the ground.
We don't stop at dog parks.
Nope.
The only places we let dogs out is basically in areas where
there's not heavy dog
there's
traffic.
not going to be heavy dog traffic.
It limits the passing of any type of illness or disease. So we try and make sure that they're free and clear of that as much
animal
as
to get to them healthy
and stress-free.
So
some people will send I guess it's more so with the cats. Cats get super stressed during transport. So we take extra care with them. With all of them, but I mean the cats can be
You deal with the cats.
temperamental.
I don't do cats.
I've had some really interesting experiences with cats, to say the least, but I've had them from moaning and groaning the entire time to reaching through the kennel and scaring the crap out of me because I forgot the cat was right there behind me. And it'll reach through and try and grab my shirt to get attention. But those people will send like I think it's called trazodone, just something to kind of knock them down with. And we try not to medicate the animals.
Yeah.
We have no problem with them sending it, but if I can avoid at all costs using it, I will, unless they are adamant that we use it.
Yeah.
So we go off their feeding schedule, their medication schedule.
Yeah. If you need to give your animal ADD medication and stuff, something's wrong. I mean, let's give your dog something. They never had that stuff years ago. So
yeah. But we want to make it a good experience, both for the animal and for the people. We want them to arrive happy and stress-free. That's such a big thing.
We built a great clientele with doing the transport, and it's allowed us to meet a lot of interesting people, other interesting breeders of all kinds of breeds.
Oh yeah.
You get to transport all kinds of cool animals. We've done an owl. Yep. There's the Xylos.
The Mexican hairless.
Yeah, Mexican.
I don't know how to pronounce the official name of it, but it's Mexican hairless. She was AKC. She was a show champion.
That was how I really got introduced to Cane Corsos, because I transported some and I fell in love with the breed. I'd been researching them for a long time too, but
a lot of people ask when you drop an animal off, how do you do this?
Yeah.
It's the love of the animals. I enjoy meeting the new people, but I also enjoy everything I get to see. I don't think that we would ever see stuff like this in our lifetime if we weren't doing transport. And driving
it gets monotonous.
Yeah, I don't necessarily say boring. At night it can be, because you're not able to see things at night, obviously.
Yeah, but you're not dealing with traffic, so you can just go.
Traffic
it's a lot of fun. I mean, her and our old business partner used to call me the dog whisperer, because you can throw that mean bastard son of a bitch dog on with me, and by the end of it, I'll have it sitting there rolling over so I can scratch its belly.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been able to deal with those kind of dogs and take those kind of dogs. They've always kind of been my thing, the asshole dogs. So
I did it with the horses. So I worked with the
I enjoy those animals. It's kind of like a challenge, but for me, it's not much of a challenge. They take almost like an instant bond. It's pretty cool.
I like working with the rescues too. You'll get
a lot of stuff for rescues.
You'll see all different things, and some of them are just downright heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the reward in the end of watching the adopter get the dog is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, you'll drop them off, and there's clients that are just sobbing and in tears because they're so happy they adopted this animal from across the whole USA, and you brought it to them, and it there's a lot of reward to it. So it's like our tagline for that is, we bring all smiles across our miles.
That's awesome.
Throughout our miles. Yeah, that's our tagline, and the name of our business, of course, is we've got Howells Country Strong Bulldogs, which is HCS Bulldogs, and then HPX for our transport, which is Howells Pet Express.
So talk about what how your breeding program, did that help at all with your transport? Did it help with the what they call the pipeline in real estate? Was that?
It's helped us. Actually, it's helped us gain like some clients. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
It definitely has, because we've had quite a few oldie breeders reach out to us and they're like, well, hey, you guys know how to handle dogs. You're breeders.
We had a couple promote us and when we first started too, which was awesome.
Yeah, and we've had a few promote us, which was way cool. And with us being able to be breeders, and they know how, like, our love and our dedication for our dogs, and they can see that. They know that their dogs are going to be taken care of just as if they were ours. And it has been like, it gave us a big boost among the breeder community, being able to do that, and puppies. And then some will reach out to us and just be like, well, I got your name from so and so. And then once they're like, oh, you're a breeder too? And it's like, yeah, well, okay, I breed Aussies. And, it's like,
so you get to talk to them on two different levels.
Yeah, you get to talk to them on two different levels, because they're like, well, I've used this one for so long and they're just not really doing it so much anymore. And it's hard to get a good transporter. And you guys are breeders, so it's awesome. You know how to handle animals and take care of them. And that's the biggest thing for us, is we want.
It's helped to put people's mind
at ease. Yeah, big time.
Knowing that we care for our own pups and our own adults, and from birth to when they leave, it helps them to know that we know what we're doing, and we're going to make sure that they're getting the best care possible.
And then we've had a lot of people just reach out to us because of it. It's like, oh, you guys are breeders and transport. Okay, so
as far as our puppies go, it's helped there too, because we can, incorporate it.
Yeah, we don't have to have somebody else transport our dogs now, so that we actually get to meet all the people getting them, which makes it better for us, because we love to meet the people that our dogs go to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, they can't necessarily always come to us. We've had two fly in, so we were able to meet them in person, and then the rest of them, now that we do this full time, we can just deliver our own and meet everybody, and it's a lot of fun to get to meet them too.
We're hoping to move to Tennessee in like maybe the next year or two. And I think that'll help both of our businesses a little bit more as well, because like in the South and back East and stuff is kind of the oldie Mecca and breeding Mecca. Out here, it's not so much. They're not as well known. We try to get them out there and get them known, but I think it'll boost us a lot more. We'll be able to do a lot more transports. As like
there's a lot of transport.
There's a lot of transporting in the East and stuff, and so because we're clear out here, they're like, well, how are you going to transport my dog if you're living in Utah and the dog's over here? It's like, well, we pick other dogs up as we go, and then we'll pick yours up and get it to you, and then we work our way back home. They're like, oh, okay, so that's how it works. And so sometimes it's a little bit of schmoozing and get them to kind of see the bigger picture of stuff. And a lot of the time at first we'll think it's a scam, because there's so many people out there scamming transport stuff, that just like with the dogs and the puppies on the internet.
Well, it's not just the scamming. There's a lot of
and they're robbing. Yeah, and then there's a lot of so-called transporters that will pick up your dog for $400 and take it across the country for you.
A lot of the time,
and a lot of the time the dog don't arrive, or they'll cram 20 dogs into that vehicle, and that dog is sitting in its own shit and piss and no food, no water for 4 or 5 days, enough to just kind of get by. Your dog's not taken care of. And they're like, well, yeah, it was only $300-400 for him to bring it across the country. Why are you $1,100? It's like, well, our level of service is quite a bit different than what you're going to get from the guy that's saying he's going to do it for $300.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
we've been unfortunately seeing a lot of those
And it's
on some of the
sad.
pet transport boards where the dogs are actually dying.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them dying lately that we've
Yeah.
been seeing on transport. And
It's
scary.
literally, there is not one good reason why a dog should not arrive alive.
Mhm.
There's really not. Any animal, but I mostly say it with dogs.
I mean,
Unless that dog has a medical condition
Yep.
that the owner didn't tell the transporter, that's like the only thing I can think of.
if
But
a dog is that bad that it's going to die within a couple days of a
You should
medical,
be able to
you're
tell.
going to tell off the bat when you go pick it up. You're going to see something isn't right, and you're going to ask.
And we do reserve the right to refuse transport up to the point of getting there, because if the dog looks sick,
Yep.
we won't transport it. We transport a lot of puppies.
We're
We're not
don't
risking
risk
those puppies.
other animals for sick animals. It's
No.
not something we do.
We require, there's a lot of states that require health certificates, and we will make sure we do not pick them up without a health certificate. They also have to send current vaccination records, even for puppies.
Yeah, we're USDA
So
for the transport and everything else, and
we make sure we keep all of that in order, and that way we know that the animals are going to arrive in a healthy condition.
there's even stories that actually happened to Brian.
Oh yeah.
He had some dogs on a transport, I guess, and I believe they were going to California, or
They were in California.
they were in California. The person that was driving the transport at the time
Rented a hotel.
This was before we got into it. Brian uses us now, of course. He's like, yeah, you guys are doing it now, sweet. But yeah, the guy rented a hotel room. He left the van running, left the dogs in it while he went into the hotel to
Was taking a shower.
take a shower, and I guess he was going to sleep in there or whatever else. And he came out, the van and the dogs were gone. And then somebody decided to go up and down the coast
And sold all the dogs.
sold all the dogs and the animals that were on the transport to people for, like, I guess, cheap as can be. And it's like, wow.
Well, we also make sure that we carry pet insurance too.
Yes.
So we not only have the insurance on the vehicle, we've got the pet insurance as well. So we have the highest limits that you can have there, plus, with Animal Bailey coverage on there as well. So it's covered all the way around. And when we go out, the most that we will ever have on transport at one time is 5 animals. Now, if they're smaller, like on one of my route before last, I transported 3 rats. So those, of course, can go in a smaller cage, and I can just put those on top of one of the kennels, strap it down, and that leaves other open kennels. So stuff like that, you can, of course,
But
put them in there.
being a breeder definitely, I think, gives us kind of a niche above a lot of other transporters. I will say that.
So tell me, what state do you hate driving in the most, or what area?
We both hate New York.
Yes.
Upstate, it actually isn't too bad.
I never wanted to go into
I
the city
hate
parts of.
California. I'm not a fan.
I'm from there. So
She's
that's
from
not
there,
me.
but
I'm from Oregon, so we hate California too.
yes.
I never wanted to go into the city parts of New York, because the very first time we ever went in there, I had a literal panic attack. The drivers there terrify me. And the drivers, but it's the semi drivers. They have no regard for even their own lives, let alone anybody else's. But these last 2 routes that I've been on, I have put myself on Long Island.
Oh man.
Twice. And this last time wasn't bad. I went to a different part of Long Island. I actually wish I had known I was going past the Belmont Stakes. I didn't know I was going past Belmont. Is it Belmont? It's the horse track that's out there. I think it's Belmont. But I didn't know I was going past there. Had I known, I would have gave myself time to stop. But I went past there, and the traffic at that time wasn't actually bad. I went during the week, and I knew I needed to get there early enough before any kind of what would be their rush hour, I guess. Time before that, the first time I went on Long Island, it was on a Sunday. I didn't expect the traffic that I got into, and it was a nightmare. So I guess that driving through New York, upstate New York, I don't mind it one bit. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Texas, that's a whole nother beast. I don't like driving in the city parts of Texas. Dallas, Austin.
Texas is crazy. They are either full speed or slow as can be.
I made the comment. I can't remember if it was you or
And
somebody
their
else.
highway system is crazy. It'll like you're trying to follow the maps and it's telling you to get off this exit.
Yeah.
And you get off, but it's the wrong exit. There's actually another exit within that exit that'll take you down over another exit. It is. I ended up one night I went around.
I watched him do circles on the 360.
I was getting frustrated. It took me about 45 minutes to finally be able to get off an exit because it was telling me here
there was construction.
and there were, but it was like there was two different little exits. There was one right off the other one, and you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And the map wasn't like showing me that
I've learned to use two maps.
Yeah.
I use Garmin and Google.
Okay.
It can get a little hectic, but
those are kind of my top two as far as driving through.
Florida can be crazy.
Yeah, depending on which side of Florida that you're on. That one can be a little bit crazy.
All the toll roads too.
Yeah, it's the toll roads is new for us, and driving through Texas has their own, but the one that drives me nuts is when you're in Florida and in New York. You can be on the same road for 100 miles and you're passing through 4 or 5 different tolls and you have to pay at each and every one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I went through New York into New Jersey, and there was one other state, I think. Well, those two. I went into those two. I had to pay a toll. I swear it felt like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I ended up spending, just between those two states, we spent almost $100 in tolls.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But, and then city-wise, in most other states, I don't like driving through Nashville. It's
and Nashville don't bother me.
The drivers are nuts.
I go to Tennessee and I feel at home. That's why I want to move there. Something about it puts me at ease. But I can go up north where I grew up in the city, and I start getting road rage and angry. And it's like, oh, get me out of here. Get me out of the city.
I think what scared me about Nashville is I don't like driving during their rush hour. I guess I better clarify that. When I can be doing 70, 75 miles an hour on the freeway and I'm getting blown sideways by somebody who's doing like 120, I watch these two cars weave in and out of traffic like they were standing still. And I'm everywhere.
Especially in Texas.
Yeah, I'm only seeing it in certain places. Is all I'm saying there. Yeah, Texas.
I prefer to stay out of Texas if I can. Texas and New York.
I went 2 months without
everywhere else I'm pretty good with. California I could live without, but
yeah, we'll go anywhere. It's not an issue. We may not always like the area.
I don't want to go there. Don't send me there while you're going. So, all right,
but we'll do it.
Yeah.
My mom moved to Texas back in the day when she lived there till she passed, and she lived and I actually lived there a couple of years too after about 50 miles east of Austin. So I know that area, and man, that's brutal. And I know what you're saying about the exit. It took me one time when I was leaving to go out of town to get out of Texas. It took me like 2 hours
Yeah.
get out of Austin because
Yeah.
these road construction and having to go me off this exit and get onto this exit off
Yeah.
on ramp. I'm like, what's I just
Oh,
went
it's
out of this goddamn city.
it's
Yeah.
still like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no
Yeah.
different than that. It's crazy, but you get the animals on board, and you just you listen to the music and
Yeah.
talk to the animals, and
Yeah.
away you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And nothing hard about it. It's an easy job. It's very rewarding because you get to see and mess with all the different kinds of animals and different breeds of dogs and stuff like that, and meet very interesting people. Some you meet are like way out there, and then you meet some that are just a laugh the whole time, and
Sit and talk with them
yeah,
forever.
just such a variety of people, and the the animals that they're getting, and it's cool. I like it.
The different breeds that you get to see and handle, and I got to transport what was it, a Weimaraner went from southern Florida to Minnesota.
Yeah, you never really had experienced Weimaraners.
No, and
Well,
I
I grew up around
loved doing it and even having the opportunity because it was one of my mom's favorite breeds.
Mm.
And I'd never seen one in person before, so I was excited when I got that one. This dog though, he was very timid
Yeah.
of people, and it's basically what it ended up happening, I believe, is that
The owner's wife was
they kind of, the dog got allowed to get away with a lot of stuff,
yeah.
That it shouldn't have, and it kind of it wasn't a good
backfired.
situation. So they sent him back to the breeder, and I felt horrible for the owner because he loved that dog. He was like on the verge of tears as I'm helping him get this dog in the van.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
his wife basically made him get rid of him. Yeah.
yeah, so he was still a pup though. He's only 9 or 10 months old.
Yeah.
And he was it took a little bit for him to warm up. I think by day 2 is when he finally decided to accept, but also was kind of personality was coming out. He started playing with me. He would roll over on his back, let me rub his belly. I loved it. When I can get a dog to do that, from what I seen at the beginning, where they're just don't touch me, that I love being able to do stuff like that.
Like I said, it's very rewarding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sad stories that you get. There's a lot of happy stories. There's reunitings after somebody's been in the military. Their family member had their dog clear across the country. They've been overseas in the military fighting or whatever, and they just got back home, and you're bringing their dog back to them, and they're reuniting, and there's
awesome to see that.
yeah, there's a lot of we get to see a lot of cool stuff. So
this is the last question, but talk about the coming from, and this is a conversation I have a lot with my wife, coming from the paycheck every couple of weeks to now you're having to rely on yourself, and sometimes business is sometimes feast or famine, really.
Yes.
So, but like you say, and what my wife has said to me, and what I have kind of figured out with what I'm trying to do on my end of the business thing, is it's so rewarding, even if I'm not getting to where I want to be financially at a given time. It's still rewarding getting to that place, way more rewarding getting that paycheck, even if it's a nice paycheck. I don't get that feeling of accomplishment. I just get feeling of like I did what I had to do to survive, really.
It's more rewarding, definitely.
So talk about like the difficulties of dealing with that, and how you manage the financial side of this, and how have you built that side of the business, and then also like the emotional side of like, oh, is it just going to be peanut butter and jelly this month or what?
I will let you handle that.
The hardest part with transport, we're still building up clientele. So we have been getting a lot more referrals by word of mouth, which is awesome. And we love our repeat customers and become friends with a couple of the breeders. But the hardest part, as far as financial goes, we know how much we have to make per month to just pay bills.
Yeah, exactly.
So regardless, I always make sure that we at least have that. Now, the nice thing is that with that, you can pick and choose when you want to go out, really. Yeah. You can go out once a month, you can go out twice a month. I like to go out at least twice a month because let's just say the first half of the month, if I do a route the first 10 days, I try and build that route to where it makes enough
covers the
to
month
cover
of
the month of bills.
Yeah.
So then the second route, if there's anything left over that needs to be paid, then it goes towards that. So we're slowly building it up. It's not, unless you're running in teams or in a big van, you're not going to get rich off of it.
Well, we would do a lot better if we didn't have to kibble feed, 20, 25 dogs at a time and a couple litters. That's where a lot of the money goes.
Yeah.
Is back into the dogs.
We put it, we've got the money that goes into the van, like
repairs,
taking care of maintenance, repairs, that sort of thing. We budget for that, the fuel, and then any maintenance that has to be done after I return home. So all of that goes into the beginning of the route. I know I need to, I base that off the mileage. So I can get, a typical route is anywhere from 7,000 to 9,000 miles. I think the most I did in one route was just shy of 10,000 miles. And that was when I did from Oregon, Washington, Montana, and then all the way east, south, and then back home. So it's money management. We just have to make sure that we have enough in the one route to pay the bills. And if I get a little bit extra in that route, it just goes in towards paying anything else that comes up, whether it be, I don't know, anything that would come up that we would need to have it for. We're going to make sure that we plan for anything unexpected.
Some months on transport are a little slower than others because there's like bidding sites that you go on, and you're bidding on a bunch of different stuff that they have on there, hoping you win. It can get a little stressful there. Sometimes you won't make as much on one route.
I stress myself out with it.
Yeah, she gets a little crazy with it, but
well, the thing is that, and I was taught this in the beginning when we were partnered up, but I still can't get it to go through my head that I stress about a route when I still have, let's say, 10 days to add more into it. I start stressing if I don't have the route full.
If she doesn't have the route full already for the 10 days.
Yeah, I start stressing.
She doesn't think that, well, even while I'm out there, I can still add more and add more and add more.
And I added 3 on the last one while I was out.
She'll leave for a route. I've actually been down. I haven't been able to go out for the last year because I was actually en route going to Brian's house to pick up a dog, and I was rear-ended by a bus. And I just had neck surgery last month, replaced 2 discs in my neck, a couple in my back that are still hating life, but hopefully I'll be back out there within the next month or 2 to at least relieve her on that. But
that's been hard too, because I've always been the one that's been at home.
Right.
And well, for the last 10 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not easy going out, and that's why when he gets back on the road, we'll trade off.
Yeah, we'll do every other route and then switch off. That way we're both doing it, and it's not as hard on either one of us having to be driving constantly, and
Mm-hmm.
more of a teamwork. Where right now it's like she's going out on the road and I'll handle stuff at home and the dogs and everything else. This way we just rotate it and build the routes, and you just all you can do is hope that you get enough for that route to pay your bills and have enough to put away a little bit for the next month or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the difficulties with doing the bidding is you get people that will message you and ask if you're negotiable on your price.
yeah,
No. Would you go into Walmart and ask them to negotiate the price of a bottle of shampoo? I mean,
yeah,
this is our business.
it's a legitimate business. Yeah,
this is our money. This is how we live.
Both of our businesses, our kennel and our transporter, both LLCs. They're licensed. They're legitimate businesses.
Yeah, but the transport is what
That's
our income.
That's our bread and butter is the transport.
So when you get people like that, those are tough. You have to nicely tell them no, and depending on how the conversation goes, I always find the nice words. I just don't always. I guess I may not always word it correctly, so to speak, because I'm agitated because they asked that question. I get where they think that it's a bidding site and other people are going in cheaper, but what I try to educate them on is that, yeah, you might be able to get a cheaper rate, but your pet is going to be crammed with 15 to 20 other animals.
How do you want your pet taken care of, basically?
Exactly.
You want 5-star service for your dog at a decent rate that we're not raping you because there's people bidding higher, or would you rather pay less? It's kind of like with the garbage with the bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
People will pay $500 to get a bulldog with lots of problems, where they can come to us and get a top quality dog that they may never have to take to the vet in its life, other than to get shots every couple of years for $3,000, $3,500 or whatever. And a lot of the time they go for the $500 to $800 dog, and then it bites them in the ass.
And the biggest thing with the bidding is the communication that you get, like how your introduction comes off is the key. And then how you begin the conversation with them. And there's a lot of times, like, you'll go through and put in 10, 15, 20 bids, and only 5 of those get looked at.
Yeah.
So that's the other part too, is that you're going in and spending all the time putting in bids for work, and you're not always getting the views.
The best feeling, though, is when you can build a whole route and make enough money on that just from word of mouth and repeat clients.
Mm-hmm.
Where you didn't even have to put one bid out on the bid site or anything. It just comes that way. That is one of the best feelings in the world. It's like you're doing something right at that point, because everybody is giving word of mouth, and they're spreading like how good you are to this person and this other breeder, and they know this breeder, and it's the same thing with breeding dogs or whatever. The word spreads among the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Except with bulldogs, a lot of the time people are trying to cutthroat the next guy so that they can sell their litter.
Yeah.
And
they do the same thing in transport.
And they do the same thing in transport. It can be very cutthroat, and trying to just undermine everybody. But for us, we stay in our lane, we do our thing, and that, to us, that's all what it's about. Our word is our bond, and that's all we have. So.
And with the building of it, I basically just take a look at what we need to do for the month.
Yep.
And I know,
and you aim for it, and you hope that's what you get. But
I know that I can add to the route if necessary.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically set the pace as far as how big or small we wanted.
Yep.
All right.
Which makes it nice.
Yeah.
In that perspective, because you can basically make as much as you want or as little as you want.
Exactly.
But you've at least got to make enough to pay your bills. So whether you're sick or whatever, you have no choice. You've got to go
I've gone out sick twice.
hit the road, and you've got to go do what needs to be done. But you're dog tired and you're sick, but you're still getting it done, and it's still gratifying.
Yeah.
To know that you're accomplishing something and you're doing it for yourself and building something for your children or your family. You get to be your own boss. I mean, ultimately your clients are your boss, of course, because they're paying your bills, and you're setting your schedule to them, and you've got to keep to it for them. But you can either choose to go or you can choose not to. You're not going to get fired.
Yeah. You don't have that overlord looking over you, and yeah. No, I really admire you guys taking that that leap and doing it, even though it's probably not the easiest road to hoe, but
No.
I think
Ideally, the dogs full time would be amazing, but
That's okay.
exactly, we still are kind of doing dogs full time in an aspect, because we're
yeah.
hauling them, or we're the home with ours.
Yeah.
There's always somebody here for our dogs, and that's the best part of it. So
And making your own schedule is nice because you can choose how much time you get in between.
Yeah, your vacations, your time with your family, it makes it nice.
Because we're on the road anywhere from
It's gratifying.
7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
With each route.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely gratifying. It was a big leap of faith in her, trusting my crazy idea to.
It took me 3 months to leave my job.
Yeah.
Basically, his accident forced me to leave my job.
When I got in the accident,
because I had to take over.
It basically forced her. Well, you can do this, and we're gonna have to live off of your income for a while, or what we can make doing this. And so she said, you know what? Okay, I'm in now. So she hit the road, and it's just there's no looking back now. And fun, and it's good for our family. I mean, we get a lot more time together, and
we just passed a year.
Yeah.
From when the very first route we had.
Yep, October.
No.
November.
It was a week before I think it was like a week and a half before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Was when you first went out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I left a pretty decent paying truck driving job to do it, but the hours sucked, and I was never home. I missed all my daughter's stuff, and now I can be like, hey,
which you would think
we can schedule around it now, and
which you would think is weird because you're gone more now. Being on the road, you don't have the option of coming home at night.
No, but you come home, you can schedule when you need to. You're home for a week or two straight. With your family that whole time. You don't get that,
like this last one.
You get a couple hours a night if you're lucky from a regular job.
I got home on the 23rd, and I'm going out. It'll be this week. We had to
hopefully.
Yeah, we had to get the van in. It started slipping on me on my at the end of the last route, so I had to go in and get the transmission done. So we're just waiting on it to get out, and then I'll be back on the road. But you have to plan for stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're doing a lot of wear and tear. I've put between the two of us, we put over 100,000 miles in a year.
Right.
So it's a lot of driving, and this van is only used for the transport. It is not used for anything else.
Right.
So when we're not on route, it's parked.
Yeah, they get a lot of wear and tear, a lot of miles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an oil change and service every time you get back from a route.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little Ford Transit that we use.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had the big Dodge
We'll never do another cargo.
cargo van, and that's what I was rear-ended in.
Mm.
And that's not the reason why we won't do another cargo. It's just, yeah, you can fit more animals, but it's a lot more expensive to run a cargo van than it is to run the small one. And
It
you
depends.
can't give the animals the attention that you can when you're in smaller loads.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
don't have a cargo van and load it with small loads. You like that one fit.
You feel it.
Yeah, that one fit up to
Mm.
14 animals. And that you just can't do the same level. I feel you can't do the same level of care as you can
You
with the
can.
smaller
You just
ones.
have to do it quicker.
Yeah,
It's not the same. No.
It's
more
time.
personal
Yes.
than a smaller vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we'll never do the cargo vans. We'll eventually have other people that will drive.
For us and
They're independent contractors. I hate saying for. Don't know if
they're
we can
still
say
driving for our
for our
company.
company. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but they'd be independent contractors.
Yes.
We're still a little ways off of that, but not too far. We're getting closer to being able to do that too.
That's awesome. That's awesome.